Phase 4, moving in for the kill, represents the culmination of all the psychological and emotional groundwork laid in previous stages, bringing seduction to its physical and climactic conclusion. By now, the target has been mentally, emotionally, and spiritually primed, yet the final steps demand a deft touch and a heightened level of strategy to ensure the seduction closes effectively. In this stage, control lies in restraint, timing, and a seamless blending of distance with closeness, keeping the target's desire peaked but carefully manipulated. The first step is to subtly shift the dynamic by introducing a calculated coldness. This is where the push-pull of seduction becomes critical. After a period of heightened connection and anticipation, this sudden withdrawal can feel bewildering to the target, sparking fear and intensifying desire. The target, already emotionally invested, may experience a feeling of loss or deprivation, often interpreted as deep longing or even love. This is the moment where you give them space, letting them feel as if they are losing you, which heightens the allure. In this dance, they may reverse roles entirely, transforming into the pursuer, chasing what they now fear slipping away. The strategic coolness forces them to take initiative, amplifying their yearning as they seek to bridge the distance between you. Once the target's longing reaches a fever pitch, it's time to turn up the physical tension. Here, subtle cues and physical lures play a pivotal role. A look, a touch, or even an extended gaze can work like an aphrodisiac, triggering latent desires and creating anticipation for physical closeness. The power of physical lures lies in their indirect, almost subliminal approach. An understated but tantalizing look or brief touch sets a psychological trap, pulling them deeper into a visceral experience. Unlike the previous stages, where words and ideas held sway, here, the sensory cues take over. These gestures act as signposts, guiding the target into a state of heightened physical awareness and building a potent mixture of impatience and longing. Timing becomes paramount as the seduction reaches its climax. The bold move, the grand gesture of intimacy, must be artfully deployed at the very moment when desire has reached a peak but remains unfulfilled. The target should not anticipate this move consciously, but should feel that it emerges naturally out of the building tension. A successful, bold move surprises, yet feels inevitable, catching them off guard in a way that bypasses rationality and deepens emotional surrender. This is not about overwhelming force, but about penetrating to the core of their desire in a way that dissolves barriers and merges your presence with their yearning. But closing the seduction doesn't end the game. If your goal is to sustain the relationship, a new phase of seduction begins. The cycle of tension and release must continue to avoid disenchantment. Long-term seduction is about preserving a dynamic of controlled unpredictability, continually resetting the target's expectations while keeping the memory of intense pleasure alive. Regularly introducing elements of tension, mystery, or distance, and then following them with reunion or intimacy, will reignite the flame. This technique of reseduction sustains the emotional intensity, preventing the familiar from breeding contempt or boredom. It ensures that the initial feelings of excitement and suspense are periodically revived, keeping the connection alive and strong. On the other hand, if the goal is a clean break, detachment is critical. The exit must be managed skillfully, avoiding lingering attachment or complication. Rather than letting the seduction dissipate into mediocrity, a sudden but graceful exit reinforces the intensity of what came before, creating a bittersweet aftertaste. This sacrificial ending allows you to disengage smoothly, leaving a vivid, almost mythical memory in your target's mind, free to pursue the next conquest without encumbrance. They're left with a memory that's frozen in time, often idealized, and resistant to the disillusionment that sometimes follows prolonged exposure. In this final phase, the art of seduction reaches its zenith, where control, timing, and an acute sense of balance converge to create a lasting impact. By alternating between restraint and boldness, detachment and closeness, and fantasy with reality, you orchestrate a potent mix of desire and suspense. The target is left either in a sustained state of admiration and desire, or, if it is a quick release, with a sense of longing for what could have been. In either case, the mastery of Phase 4 lies in knowing when to move in, and perhaps more importantly, when to move on, having left a lasting, indelible mark.